When I said that maybe I should start covering more writing controversies, I wasn't expecting anything this quickly. There I was, making my dinner, and I realized I couldn't stop thinking about the latest book controversy among many. I'm not on TikTok, so I don't follow book talk aside from what comes across my dash on Instagram or YouTube. And I follow a few booktubers, but not a lot. I've never really been involved in the community, and I still don't know if I am. But is it always this controversial? This is a space that's been around for a while, right? And I know controversies are par for the course at this point. Everyone is so on alert. Everyone's just kind of waiting to jump on something, right? And I'm not exempt from that either. But has the book community online always been like this? Because I swear, I don't know if it's just Threads or TikTok or what, but I swear, every time I turn around, every day, there is a new controversy. They cycle through. Oh, does romance have to have a happy ending? Yes. Does romantasy have to have a happy ending? I could not believe someone tried to tell me that romantasy does not need a happy ending. Am I wrong? I'm pretty sure the whole thing about romantasy is that it's romance with fantasy in it, not the other way around. Anyway, that's not actually what we're here to talk about today. Today, we're here to talk about that someone decided to go on TikTok and say that she regularly skips paragraphs that she feels are too long. And then, of course, other people chimed in saying, yeah, well, if I see that a paragraph is just description that doesn't have anything to do with the story, I'll skim it, if not outright skip it. Since I am an author, I am sure someone is going to say that as an author, I need to stay out of reader spaces and I'm not allowed to tell readers how to read, because one of the arguments I saw is reading is supposed to be fun. You can't police people on how they read, whether they want to skip paragraphs or not, right? First straightforward point to that is, yes, reading is supposed to be fun. I agree that the way we handle reading in the American education system, forcing kids to read and killing their love for it, is horrible. However, if you're just reading for fun and you decide you want to skip paragraphs, I can't stop you. No one can stop you. However, I'm putting a caveat on that, because if you are reviewing, if you're just putting a review on Goodreads with your thoughts, or you're posting a review on Amazon, that's one thing. However, your reviews are going to influence a book's standing on Goodreads, on Amazon, on whatever, but especially if you are reviewing seriously, if you have a book talk, if you have a Bookstagram, or whatever kind, a BookTube account, and you are specifically reviewing books, and God, especially if you are getting ARCs or authors are sending you review copies, I think it is important for you to read every word. And here's where I get into the more existential part of writing, right? And the bigger picture, broader scope, okay? So here's the thing. I'll address the too long paragraphs thing, since that's where it first started. One of the things you are supposed to learn when you study writing is that it is important to break up paragraphs. Now, that does not change the fact that some authors, especially in epic fantasy like George R.R. Martin, will have longer paragraphs. And if that's not a writing style you want to read, I get that. You know, there's a reason I don't read George R.R. Martin, and there's a reason I've never actually been able to sit down and read J.R.R. Tolkien. Those writing styles do not appeal to me. If you are an author who is editing and then formatting your book, And even this was something I learned in fan fiction and that fanfic authors talked about, is it's very important to break your paragraphs up, to figure out a way. You don't want your paragraphs to be too long. The experience of fan fiction translates well here, because it used to be that like you were reading on your computer or on your phone. Long paragraphs make it really hard to read. And it's the same thing in books, really. If you don't break the paragraphs up, it's going to be harder for the reader to focus, and they might start losing their place and they get confused. And that way the reading experience is not pleasant, and they're more likely to put the book down because it's not fun, right? If the argument comes down to some authors could probably use having shorter paragraphs, that's one thing. Again, if it's epic fantasy and it's just an author's style that maybe isn't for you, you don't have to read it. I've read one Brandon Sanderson, but it was an audiobook, so I don't know what his paragraphs look like, but like if he does have long paragraphs, and again, if that's not for you, you don't have to read Brandon Sanderson, even if he's super popular. So the long paragraphs, that's something that I think could be a discussion, and something that I do believe authors need to take into consideration, and that's also something editors should help with, right? However, when you get to the people who are saying, oh, well, I'll skip descriptions, or I'll skip something that I think isn't pertinent to the story. How I interpret that as an author, the way that reads to me is saying that not all of my words matter. Because here's the thing. Description is an art. And like, here's the thing. There's an art to dialogue. There is an art to writing dialogue that reads as realistic without being bogged down by realism, right? Those are two very different things. Descriptions are a whole other kind of art, because it's either going to come down to, can an author describe something in a way that makes you feel it? Like, can they describe a room so that you see it in your mind? Can they describe a scent, the smell of a busy marketplace or a garden, so that you feel like you're there, so you know what that experience is like? That is part of the art of writing. And that is also where the distinction between like good writing and bad writing comes in. Because if an author just says, it smells like flowers, that's one thing. Whereas if you lean a little more into the poetic and the artistic, saying exactly what the smells are and the effects it has on a character, those are two completely different kinds of descriptions, right? I mean, that's show versus tell. And I mean, it is also important as an author to know when to tell and when to summarize and not get bogged down. But sometimes the details are important. The details are what actually builds the story. And like for me, I'm very much a character writer. So like my stories are very character driven. My writing is very character based. But I still have lore and world building that has to be put into the story. But I'm not just dumping lore for the sake of dumping lore. I have certain characters who their entire reputation in the political aspects of the story is determined by their family's reputation, which is determined by their family's history. You know, if one family just kind of came from an island and said, hey, we're gonna take up space here now, and we don't particularly care what you have to say, well, that's going to affect how their descendants are seen through the rest of the story. If you've got another family, and yes, these are direct examples from the story, if you've got another family who came down from the north and they're just like, yeah, no, stay out of our way or we will kill you, and we will fight for our home, and no, you can't drive us out of here. Again, that is going to affect the reputation of that family further on down the line and as part of the story. You know, I have other characters who it's like, yeah, it is kind of important what he did 5 years ago, because that shows you who he is today. If I put it there with a purpose, why are you just dismissing it? Why are you telling me that some of my words don't matter? And yes, I'm making this very personal because I want you to understand this is how I, as an author, see it. This is how it feels to me when someone says, oh, I don't care about descriptions, so you just want the character stuff. But some of the character stuff is in that description. It feels so disrespectful to me to say that you don't care about what the storyteller intended and what the storyteller is trying to build and unwind and how they want to unspool this world and this story for you. But you're just gonna jump to what? The dialogue? If you are going to go online and brag about being a reader and fill your shelves with pretty special editions, and if you're going to get authors to send you free books, don't you think you should respect what the author put into their work? Isn't it only fair to follow them on the story they're trying to tell? And if you don't like how they describe things, or you don't like how they build the world, maybe that book just isn't for you. Maybe that author isn't for you. It probably is for someone out there. Maybe it's not for you and you don't have to read it, even if it is popular. This is going to sound ridiculous, but in one of the Five Nights at Freddy's video games, there's a line where someone says, telling someone that you're going to tell them a story is tantamount to asking them to stop what they're doing and pay attention. And I think that's such a great description of it. Because it is. I wrote a book and you picked it up and it's me saying, come with me. I want to take you on a journey. I want to introduce you to these people and this world, and I want to show you something. I want to show you a part of myself. I'm opening up a door to show you the way I see the world. And like I said, I'm making this very personal. I admit. I'm not being unattached about this whole thing at all. And obviously I can't speak for other authors. And like I said, especially if you are going to be a book talk or booktube or bookstagram reviewer, you cannot give a genuine review if you're not reading the whole story. Because especially if there's stuff in the description or in the world building that you're skipping over, then how can you speak to what's actually in the story? So, if you liked anything I had to say at all in this, and you would be interested in coming on a journey with me and seeing how I see the world and what I care about and all those lovely things I described, I write a fantasy romance series called Calidus Chronicles. Volumes 1 and 2 are available on Amazon. I would love if you checked it out. It is a cozy fantasy that deals with political intrigue and a lot of characters, and it's an ensemble cast with political, supernatural, and social themes, and I would really appreciate if you would check it out. I do all my art myself. This has been a labor of love, and it's also a dream come true. I've been writing and studying writing for more than 20 years at this point, and it took a long time for me to get to a place where I had a story I was confident and proud enough of, that I was confident enough in and proud enough of, that I felt comfortable putting it out to the public. And I would love if you gave it a try. I'm currently in the process of editing volume 3. I am blogging that progress. I actually thought I was going to eat my dinner and then come back and edit the next chapter and film another vlog clip, but while I was cooking, I realized I needed to get this out, and I needed to get it said because I had too many thoughts on it and it just wouldn't get out of my head. So there we go. Again, if you're interested, please check out Calidus Chronicles, and you can check out, like I said, my editing vlogs here on my channel. I would be very interested to hear your thoughts down in the description, and if anything else like this comes up, I'm sure I'll have things to say about it, especially if people enjoy watching these videos. But yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you enjoy this and you check out more of my videos and you enjoy them, please consider giving me a like and maybe even subscribing to the channel. And like I said, checking out my books. I think that's everything I have to say for now. Until next time, everyone, stay safe, take care, and I hope to see you all again soon. Bye-bye!